Okay, hey everybody, this is Julian. I'm broadcasting here about the Poppy token creation and TronCard distribution. Somebody can reach out and just give me a thumbs up on the chat to make sure everyone can hear me. That would be great, and I'll go ahead and get started. Okay, all right, great. So that's it. It looks like I am, oh, maybe my mic is dead. I'll go ahead and fix that. Sorry about that, everybody. That should be better. So, anyways, just as I had mentioned, this is going to be an update on the Poppy token, the completion of the seed germinator funding of Poppy, as well as a TronCard update. I'm pretty excited to kind of touch base with everybody and let you all know where we're at in this. This is obviously a process that's been going on for some time, and we're pretty excited to announce kind of where we're at and where we see the rest of the year going. So first of all, thank you all so much for the funding on Poppy. This is really exciting to see such a strong base. So many people have come in and contributed. We've had more than 1,600 people actually contribute to this. That's a fantastic base. More than 200 people have submitted enough to qualify for the TronCard beta. So that's very exciting too. That's our first team of people to really come out there and utilize this card and interact with Poppy and TronCard in the real world. So that's exciting as well. So yeah, we've got nearly a week to spare here with time left in funding it. So reaching the hard cap that quickly was a fantastic surprise. We're so excited to see so much support from the community. And really, that's kind of why we're putting this live stream together today. This is really the opportunity for us to kind of share some of the details about the token, about the utilities of this token, some of the logistics about the TronCard shipment, when you guys can expect to start interacting with these things. So I'm going to go ahead and start off on the token. I think that's probably the most pressing issue here for everyone. Some of the first questions that I've seen are when are we going to start to see the distribution of the token since we hit the hard cap this past weekend. So I think that I need to provide a little bit of background specifically on the token itself. We are going to be issuing a TRX20 token. This is a little bit different from TRON basic tokens like most of you are familiar with. Most of us are more used to interacting with basic tokens such as seed or the egg token, things like that. Those are TRON basic tokens. Really, the features associated with those is they're relatively simple and easy to issue. However, they're not divisible, which means that basically they can only be utilized in whole units or units of one. They can't be fractionalized. Currently, they do not interface with smart contracts, although there is some future development that is going to be coming along with that. That's so my understanding is that there will be smart contracts that do utilize TRX10 tokens in the future, which is great. But where this token is going to shine is really its utility as a TRX20. It will be divisible. It is going to be utilizing smart contracts right from the beginning. And in that way, we can start to enable some very unique features and utilities alongside this. We have a lot planned as far as how vendors are going to be utilizing this token, how original contributors, such as many of yourselves, are going to be able to utilize this token, as well as some of the unique dividends and incentives that are going to be coming along with it. So regarding some of the features of TRC20, of this TRC20 Poppy token, one of the first things that we're coming out here with is the loyalty program. This has been a real question, I think, from many of you, is that how are we going to utilize a loyalty program in conjunction with this? And no, at this time, they're not planned to be separate tokens. So I think that everyone here has seen that there's going to be about 11 million Poppy tokens issued in total, and all of those are going to be distributed to the original contributors to the project. But also what's going to happen is the system itself, Poppy, is going to be designed to work with this token in a unique way. We're anticipating the ability to basically acquire these tokens as part of the loyalty program and, say, buying them from the open market to kind of encourage a use case of them. We're also talking about some interesting features alongside that token, which may include staking by the vendor to have discounted fees and things like that, in addition to being able to make purchases or conduct transactions with the token itself. So there's a lot of things planned today, and a lot of these features will require the use of smart contracts, which has really been what the delay has been behind this token. So obviously, everybody wants to receive their Poppy token as quickly as possible, but as you can imagine, issuing these smart contracts is kind of an important step for us. A contract does need to be issued to properly distribute this token, and ensuring that we get all of these features right day one is extremely important to us. We are working and have been working on this side of the token for some time. We do have quite a bit of outside help as well, and we're really trying to make sure that as it's designed from day one, all the features are there that we need for the future development. So at this time, I don't have a firm date, but we are going to plan to routinely announce to you guys as far as the development of this. It is probably going to be sooner than later, and I'm hoping to provide a more detailed update on exactly where we're at on this coming Sunday to nail down a more accurate timeline. So the TRON card itself, this is as a lot of you are aware, the TRON card was kind of pushed forward as a bit of an incentive for those that did contribute 10,000 or more TRX or seed equivalents. So those that are receiving 10,000 Poppy token are going to receive a complimentary TRON card. They're also going to be part of the beta launch of this, which means that we'll be seeking some additional feedback and insight from those that do receive the card that are a part of this first group. I mentioned previously there's about 200 that did qualify for the beta program, and so they're going to be the first to receive it. So regarding distribution, this is kind of a tricky one because we are seeking to provide these cards to all of you in the most anonymous fashion possible, and the best way that we can see to do that is going to be by issuing a token for each of you. So the way that we see this working today is we're going to be issuing a token. So we're going to be issuing a token and sending this out to everybody that did qualify for the TRON card. You're going to actually be sending that token back to us with an email address associated with your account. So I would recommend utilizing this will be public information because it is all going to be encoded on the blockchain. So we will be sending you a token, and you will have to send that token back to us with an email address. And I would advise that you use an email address that maybe is not your personal, is a temporary one, so that we can provide you some additional detail in private. And the way that, and in this way, we can ensure that there's no formal registration. We don't have to know exactly who the individual is to distribute the card. When you send us that email address back inside of the token, I do apologize, I should explain this. We're going to be sending you a TRON card redemption token, and we're going to be asking that you send that token back to us. When you do that, you can actually add a note to the section of the token. On TronScan, there's a note section at the bottom. I believe on most wallets, you'll see the same. And in that notes section, we're going to ask that you provide us an email address to contact you with. When we contact you back, we're going to be providing you a unique redemption code, which is going to be accessible onto Amazon.com. And you're going to be able to go on to Amazon and actually purchase the card there with that code, and it'll be free of charge. It'll be distributed or sent to whichever address you choose, and that's going to be how we distribute the cards anonymously. So Amazon is going to know who to send the cards to. You'll have a free way to access the card, and that's how we see this working. So it's simple enough. Entirely done through Amazon, third party. I think most in the US are familiar with that. There may be a slight delay in Europe and Australasia, but we are anticipating utilizing the exact same process for those as well. So Amazon is going to be the standard. So I sure hope that kind of addresses some of the key features of how and when you're going to be receiving the token. And I think that does address some of the questions about how we're going to actually be distributing the cards. Once we've finished the beta, which we're anticipating the entire month of January, then we're going to be opening this up to everyone. So the card is going to be a very nominal price. Basically, it's just to cover our shipping costs to everybody. We do want everybody to have full access to this card. It's going to be a very nice card. It's going to be done very high quality. We're going to be utilizing a pretty solid manufacturer here based in the US to make these. So we're anticipating it's going to be a pretty nice piece. And yeah, we're very excited to see where this goes. Regarding the beta program, we will be having a pop-up in January in San Francisco, and there is some planning of potentially extending that to Los Angeles as well. So the card will be able to be utilized at the pop-up, at some of our launch vendors, as well as via other wallets. Again, the card and Poppy are being designed to be as open as possible to allow use on any wallet or to interact with any other TRON payment method. So regarding some of the questions, I do have a list here of questions from the community that I'm going to try and get through. I can watch the live stream here, and I guess I'll go ahead and tackle some of these now. Online retailer, no, but there is actually some plan for that. We actually have some plans today with some partners that we've been working with that do want to see this to be used online, so that is a possible feature. But regarding shipping to the UK versus USA, if you're a part of the beta program, there may be a slight delay. That delay being just us filling the Amazon UK Prime warehouses. That's how we're going to be doing the free shipping, trackable shipping, and things like that. That can take a little bit of time. I don't anticipate the difference, though, being any more than a few days. That would be the same with Asia as well. We may also try and use Rakuten for parts of Asia to kind of help with that. So Anthony from the Poppy Telegram, is Poppy going to be listed on an exchange? If not, how would someone consider down the road selling their profits? I do anticipate that Poppy will be listed specifically on Tron Watch Market. That is something that I think makes a lot of sense. In addition, I think that you've seen me mentioning things about the utility functions of the token. It will actually have to be listed on an exchange to enable the loyalty program to work effectively. So I do see it being listed on a decentralized exchange within the Tron network at the very least, yes. If somebody buys 10,000 Poppy tokens on the, I apologize, this is DJ from the Poppy Telegram. If somebody buys 10,000 Poppy tokens on an exchange or trade channel before the cards are distributed, are they now eligible for the card, or is it just the original owner? This is just the originator. Just the originating accounts will be eligible. As I mentioned, we'll be distributing a token to those accounts. Obviously, that's a tokenized piece that we're going to be sending out to those specifically. If you transfer your 10,000 Poppy tokens elsewhere, that account is not going to be a part of the beta program, no. GMP on Twitter, is Poppy going to work with WordPress? We need a payment system on WordPress. So this is actually pretty interesting. I think you've all seen kind of what Sesameseed has put out there. We've obviously started with things like Seedit, which is a fantastic peer-to-peer payment system. We then started to roll in some additional features like the TronCard, which is going to be a great way to interact wallet to wallet. And now we're talking about a Poppy retail system. These all work very well with an exchange, and I think it's not too hard to see that we are building a bit of an ecosystem around this. And in regards to WordPress, I think that's kind of the next frontier is online payments, just as was mentioned previously. Let me take a look here. Okay, Fonz on Twitter. Can you clearly explain the retailer's coverage on a volatile TRX value? A retailer's rent is fixed. Can payments with TRX not fluctuate too much for a retailer? This is actually a great point. So one of the biggest concerns when it comes to cryptocurrency in retail is the volatility of it. So obviously we're going to have to add a significant amount of incentive to utilizing it. This is why the fees that we're going to offer are so low. We're going to be offering some utility in which to make those fees potentially zero. This could be through something such as staking Poppy tokens by a vendor. And we're also looking at basically enabling the vendor to possibly move those tokens out of their system in a more effective way. This could be through a wallet transaction, but it's not something that we've finalized or are ready to go into details on just yet. But in regards to the vendor themselves, they could potentially see a 1% or possibly less transaction fee, depending on how they utilize the system that they have and how they utilize Poppy. That's in comparison to up to 2.75% transaction fee that they see in most of their current POS systems for Visa and MasterCard. Let me take a look here. So James D on Twitter, what do you think will be the biggest benefit for consumers and also merchants who use Poppy as a POS as opposed to existing POS systems? I think it really comes down to flexibility. At the end of the day, part of the pop-up, some of the things that we're talking about would be things like doing a Instagrammable or a Twitter wall where you could take a photo and post that, and you can tip back to somebody using Seedit tokens. You could then take your wallet that's associated with your Seedit account and use that to make a payment there in stores. That's very interesting. You'll have something like a TronCard. You'll be able to basically do person-to-person payments. I think it's the versatility is key. Another key feature is actually going to be the loyalty that Poppy does provide back to the consumer itself. Is just for utilizing the card. We're currently planned to return 1% back to customers. So 1% of every purchase that you make, you're going to get back. The way that you're going to get that back is something we're still finalizing, and it does work alongside the utility of the Poppy token itself. So it's not something I'm ready to go in depth on today. But I do anticipate there's going to be a lot more flexibility there for the consumer. Is there a time when Sesameseed would sell the seed germinator community-owned Poppy tokens, or will they be held forever? If they're sold, what happens to the profit from that sale? What happens to Poppy holders if someone like Visa wants to buy the Poppy company? So this is from Jatsman on Telegram. That's actually a very good point. And I think that I just need to offer my perspective on the Poppy tokens that are owned by Seed Germinator. They're not owned specifically by Sesameseed. These would be owned by Seed Germinator. And if we consider the reward structure, this takes we'll take a bit of a step back here. We're saying that you vote for Sesameseed, and 80% of the rewards are going directly back in the form of seed. That's great. You get that. We're saying 10% are going to be effectively burned, utilized on operating expenses. That's great. And 10% are reserved for the Seed Germinator Development Fund. From my perspective, that 10% is owned equally by the entire Sesameseed community. And so I don't think that those are owned specifically by Sesameseed. Sesameseed and Seed Germinator would be basically acting as an escrow for the combined voting power of all of those that currently hold seed tokens. So from my perspective, I don't think that it can sell those tokens. I think if it did sell those tokens, or say it was forced to sell those tokens, the value of those would have to trickle that back down according to our payment structure, which is 80% to seed token holders, 10% to operating expenses, and 10% back into the Seed Germinator Development Fund. So I'm anticipating that it holds on to those indefinitely. I see no time when those would ever be sold or need to be sold. They're part of a permanent incentive of holding seed. And this really comes into the point of the seed token itself. When we conceived the idea, we kind of thought about, hey, let's build a token that constantly takes on more of the value, is constantly brings in more utility and more functionality. And this is the only way that it does. And if we start to strip those features away, it's kind of like taking a bit of a step back. So I do think that that at the end of the day, it's going to hold those tokens indefinitely. Let me take a look through here. Maybe I'll hit the chat here. I've seen some questions. Staking of Poppy, so the pool will be bigger. No, actually, the total circulating supply is not going to increase above the 11 million or so tokens that are out there today, or will be issued today. Upcoming Seed Germinator dApps, yeah, there are some. We actually met just before this, about 1 hour before this. We had our team meeting, and we actually discussed the coming soon apps. We have 3 or 4 that all look good. 3 are potentials ready to go. 2 are very, very close. So I do anticipate seeing some of those listed here within the next few weeks. Will Amazon be able to ship in South Africa? That's actually a good point. It may not. And if it doesn't, the way that it would work is you would actually go onto Amazon and you simply wouldn't be eligible for Prime. It's going to have to ship via UPS. So for those that are based in other countries that are not accessible to Amazon Prime, we're probably going to have to figure out some alternative to cover the shipment rate. Obviously, we're shipping a card, so the cost is going to be nominal, but still, as a part of the beta program, that is something that is a cost that we should be absorbing. So I'll make sure that we do, and I'll make sure we plan for that. Sesameseed merch coming. Yeah, there actually is quite a bit of merch in the works. Both Poppy and Sesameseed merch is on its way. I've seen both Snowbeam and Humpty, Danny. They've all been working on a few. I think they even tried on a few shirts that look great. So that is coming very soon. Then we have, you talked about WordPress here, rewards for participating in the beta program. No, this is very much just the launch team. The reward is basically the ability to have the card first, to utilize it first, be some of the first out there to receive it. and give us feedback and help us make this the most robust system possible. What percent? Yeah, I guess you could. You could sell all of your 10K investment and still receive the card technically. That's entirely up to you. They're your tokens. This actually does bring me to a good point though, and that's that if this is a TRX20 token, not all wallets are set up to use those today, and there may be a little bit of confusion when that token is distributed. It may not be visible to all wallets day one. This may take a little bit more time, but they'll obviously be in the account, just not visible to all wallets. Let's take a look here. We talked about when Poppy will be distributed. I'm going to be providing an update this weekend, which will be great. Have you decided on the name for the token? At this point, we're just going to name it Poppy, P-O-P-P-Y. There is no, because it's a TRX20, there is no naming convention issues like we see on Basic. I'm not worried about people issuing the same name and things like that. This isn't going to be a Basic token. Keep in mind, there are no authorized Poppy or Sesameseed tokens out there aside from the ones that are distributed by us. We don't do ICOs where you can buy them, so don't buy them online. We distribute them ourselves. So please keep that in mind. So when in the future Poppy is being bought Visa and MasterCard. So how is the token holder going to receive that 28.92%? So essentially, this is actually a pretty interesting point, because if we did just sell in our current state, you're right, you would find yourself in a bad situation. This is why we're building in significant utility into the Poppy token. I think everyone that's been a part of Sesameseed and seen what we've done with this seed token has become accustomed to how we issue a token and what we do with these. We find many ways in which they can be used. The Poppy token is going to be the same exact way. There's going to be significant utility. There is going to be a bit of a forced loyalty market with the token that does require that Poppy utilize it. So it will, if it's ever potentially sold, it's just going to be a larger market that has to utilize that token. So that's where we see that coming into effect. Are we limiting the beta program to the 650 initial 10,000 holders, or will there be other ways to join the program? No, the program is cut right there. It's about 250. So everyone's aware, 250 people, or 210 to 250, I don't recall exactly, did qualify. That's the beta program right there. In addition to probably some other SRs and developers that are out there to help provide as much feedback as possible. That's the entirety of them. You'll probably have the card on your own for up to a month before we're done here. Before this goes live to everyone. A little bit on timeline, just so everyone's aware. I might as well talk about this, as I think I've hit most of our questions. Well, we did get our Clover hardware in. I've sent some of the hardware off to Angel as well, and probably some of our other developers that are assisting. And we're pretty excited. So we have our first kind of internal targets around November 16th for Clover, so we can go ahead and make sure that the application is working well. We have our first test card data being sent out on November 1st, which is great, and we're expecting to have our full card data sent to our manufacturer on December 1st. So we're looking great from a timeline perspective. Again, January is our big launch, and we're looking forward to it. So I guess I've been going on here for about 35 minutes. if there's any additional questions, I'd love to address those. If not, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up, guys. Okay. Thank you all for taking the time to tune in. I really appreciate it. Thank you all again so much for funding this. It's been a lot of fun. We're making a lot of progress here, and we anticipate to do these kinds of things a bit more often. And oh, yeah, this one here, that one. Oh, yeah, I guess it's mirrored, but yeah. So so we do anticipate to do this a bit more often and provide more recurring news and updates, specifically to those that did contribute to the Seed Germinator project. So I look forward to providing more information, to being more in contact, and giving you guys a constant update. What happens if I feed my egg? I have no idea what egg. I have no idea in regards to eggies. I don't know. I have nothing. No comment. Ask Stash. All right, guys. That's it. Thank you so much. Take care and have a great one. All right. Bye.